So Boris was asking me, how do you get a job in the game industry? I had to tell him, little guy, I don't know. Like, I mean, I got some ideas, but not really. No. People be like, well, I'm going to go to DigiPen because that's the Portal team came from DigiPen. That was 20 years ago. Roughly. 20 years ago. That might not be the right way anymore, right? And I know some of the professors at DigiPen now. Now, there's a bunch of lovely people there, and there's also just some really horrible human beings who I would never want to work with. Heck, I wouldn't want to go get a beer with. I wouldn't want to be in the same bar with. And they're teaching people how to act. Ooh, that's scary. For me, I went to Cleveland State to get a computer science degree, and then just really realized that wasn't for me. Other things were for me. A little period in my life. And then I went to actually a community college, where I've met really great professors. People really undersell community college. Community college was really good. Professor Stone was just really influential. And then from there, I went to Kent State for theater. And I like having that mix because I have a little bit of understanding of both. And a lot of people that I end up working with kind of have that mix where they kind of were doing something and then did something else. Like a lot of the writers in particular in the industry are kind of like that because there's no money in writing. When I told, as we moved from Cleveland to here, and I told my accountant, because I had an accountant that was doing my business taxes and personal taxes, and you actually had accountants back in the day, you couldn't just do it all online. And I said what I was getting paid. He's like, oh, you're like one of the top 1% writers in the world right now because writers get paid so poorly. There's a Stephen King level, and then there's everybody else. But he was just laughing about that. But so, I don't know. But what I do know is that people know if you're a good person. Now, I know we keep doing this thing of we call these the good guys in the industry. The bar to be a good guy is really low. It's pretty much like don't burn down a house. Hey, do I get an award for that? No, you don't. The actual good guys who are the good guys of the people in the industry that I know, that we all talked with each other, and if you say, hey, I'm gonna go, let's go meet for beers, and they bring somebody, that person they're bringing is a good guy, like a real good guy. I may come off as a little bit of a hothead, crazy person online sometimes, but people who work with me know I'll solve problems. I'll do the work. I don't care. I told Gabe the one time, I'm like, you want me to clean the toilets? I just want to do something. I don't give a shit. And so, being one of those people is always helpful. But where do you do that? If you don't have a job, are you going to work with indies? Maybe that helps. I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, I'll look at a recent example of someone I worked with. I won't use their name because I don't know if they'd like it. But they were working in our community and just being nice. They were hosting game servers for us some nights. And then we just started talking, and then they started helping out part-time. We're doing some work on the mod stuff. And then when we kind of stopped having employees, they got work at a real AA-ish, high AA studio, and now they're one of their go-to people there. Because they just solve problems, and they're super nice to work with. They're the one kind of people if you give them a problem, you feel bad. So not only are they solving problems, but you don't ever want to give them a problem because you would feel bad. But you would love to share with them a problem you're having and see if they can help you solve it, right? Being one of those kind of people is super helpful, but then you still have to get in. Right now, our community update is I'm kind of purposely being as hands-off as I can be just to let the community run it and see. And some of those people want to find jobs in the industry, and maybe this will be a path to it that they can do it. And I said, you can use me as reference. But that's not scalable. That's not sustainable. I don't know. Studios are still hiring. Studios will always still be hiring. Big AAA studios will keep hiring, right? People will often be like, oh, my dream job is Valve. Don't do that. Get a job is a dream job. And from there, you can work out where you go because, in a place like Valve, they don't hire interns. I gotta let Boris out. They don't hire interns because there's no management to manage the interns and pay attention to them, and that would mean somebody else would have to do the work. Now, some people have chosen to do that and champion for people, and it's pretty cool. But it's a rarity, right? It doesn't come that way. So you need to find a place in a company big enough to absorb somebody who isn't going to be the most productive, because you're going to be learning the job. Even if you went to college for it, you're going to be learning the job. But like, how do you stand out? Like, I say, like, make cool stuff and people will find it. There's so much stuff out there, it's hard to find it. But equally, when I talk with somebody, and I have a LinkedIn this morning, and I have not LinkedIn, but like from LinkedIn, I had a video call this morning, and I'll have one next week. Because I'll just talk with people, and I'll say I have nothing to offer you except conversation, and sometimes just talking about it is helpful. And that conversation, though, is just like, what have you done? What can you show me that you've done? Have you done anything? And if you've just done the tutorial stuff from Unity, you're not that helpful. Like, it's hard. It's hard because there are people out there working their ass off, doing a ton of stuff that they can point to and go, I've done all this, right? And those people are easy. But it's really hard right now. Here, I'm going to do the thing where I'm going to tie this all in with this other stuff that I talk about that people don't want me to talk about. But like, this is why the billionaire class is trying to disrupt the job market, because there was a period, especially in the game industry, when it was super expensive to hire people and employees had the edge. They had the power and they could say, hey, I want to get paid all this money, and people paid it. But that's not that way anymore, right? When you can just get fired at a whim, when you could ship a successful game and get fired, when you can be at a giant company making gajillions of dollars and still be fired, well, then you don't have the power anymore and you can't do that. But what that also then means is that as they displace older developers, the people getting hired for the new positions could be those older developers, but at less pay. So it makes it even harder for younger developers, right? It's all tied in together. And this is why I'm so flabbergasted by people staying on Twitter. And of course, the people staying on Twitter, let me tell you, they ain't going to the bar and being one of the nice guys from my friends. They're the made up performative nice guys, right? Don't be the performative nice guys, because that rubs everybody the wrong way. Boy, the minute you post about somebody and you get a bunch of the DMs. Yeah, I don't like to do that, so I'm not gonna. But yeah, people know. People always know. They always know the performative crap, right? Where they know somebody, I've joked of, like, I consider some people online friends who I've never met. I've only played games with online and whatever. And my wife would be like, well, how do you call them friends? And so we decided it would be if their car broke down, a couple hours in the middle of the night, pretend there's no Uber, would you go drive and pick them up? I'm like, yeah, of course I would, right? Partially because I like to drive. But would you do stuff for other people? Or would you just say you would do stuff? And there's a bunch of little stuff that you can go do. You can go, somebody got laid off and I was introducing them to somebody else the other day. I'm not trying to blow my own horn here, but I'm just saying, there's a whole bunch of things you can do that aren't obvious. But one of those things and that you can do, and the way you do it, is talk to other people. And that's what I'm saying, go to GDC might be the right thing for you, even though it's not for me. But I remember when I was starting the studio and I was just struggling with things that I thought I knew how to do, but I was like, I don't think I know how to do. I don't think this is going well. And I talked to a bunch of studio people, heads in Seattle, and we would just go to lunch. And it would just be these really honest conversations about no, there's no solution for this. Or whatever. And just often them describing their problems or their path helped me understand mine. And that's what we try to do. And the group of us would just have dinner then sometimes and be like, we should share this more or something, whatever. And COVID came. COVID really disrupted a lot of stuff. I think people undersell how much COVID disrupted things. And we still haven't gotten back, but it gave this opportunity. So yeah, the short and the long answer is I don't know. That was a long answer. But being a good person isn't going to hurt you. Actually doing things and not just talking about them isn't going to help you, right? Beginning of college, everyone was a writer, but no one had written anything, my group of friends. And then it's like, you should probably be writing stuff. We're a lot more now. I see people online doing things and doing stuff like, should you make a TikTok account? And that's how you're going to be in the industry. Yeah, maybe. Again, I don't know. It's different for everybody. But finding peers to talk about that and what you're going through is important. And I don't know where to find that for people starting out. Sorry. I'm not helpful today. I'm gonna go find